3 out of 5. Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is an absolute love letter to both the original Crash Team Racing and fans of the Crash Bandicoot series. The incredible turbocharged gameplay of the classic title is perfectly preserved. All the drift lines working just as they did in the original, and look, I can even do the shortcut on Papu's Pyramid now. Yeah. But what really enamors me to the game is its attention to detail, and the realization that we have all these models from the N-Sane trilogy, what if we just shove them everywhere? From Bandifish flopping down in Dingo Canyon, to the holographic rock guitar playing Tiny in Tiny Arena, to the stained glass of Cortex Castle referencing everything from Crash 1 to Twinsanity, there is a love for the Crash Bandicoot franchise in Nitro-Fueled that hasn't been seen or felt to this extent in decades. It's been a long time since I've just wanted to look at background elements and catch all the cute references. And when you get to the point where your game is cute enough that I want to stop playing it in order to appreciate animations, you know you've done something right. Also, this boy in Polar Pass, oh, just look at him. He is the cutest thing! He tried to murder me in Crash 2, but now I love him more than anything. You got this, buddy. However, Nitro-Fueled is not content to sit on its laurels and let nostalgia carry it. New content is being added to the game monthly, including an all-new track, Twilight Tour. Inspired by both the Arabian and Tomb levels of Crash 3, Twilight Tour is the first original Crash racing track in over a decade, and the flagship course on which the hopes of the online Grand Prix challenges are built off of. Roughly 2 years ago, we released a video on the original Crash Team Racing, praising its sense of fluidity and how it manages to marry track design, controls, risk-reward mechanics, and passive bonuses together seamlessly. I think it's only fair to see how this new upstart does in comparison to Papu's Pyramid, and if it can capture the same kind of feeling that CTR was so good at bringing out. First of all, praise to the aesthetics of Twilight Tour have to be in order. The track shifts seamlessly from a sandy Arabian night to a bustling bazaar inside of a tomb, untouched by time, and back again almost effortlessly. Everything works thematically. Fan service is given without being overly obtrusive, and this genie lab assistant traveling by with a giant stack of Wumpa crates is an adorable touch. The track is a feast for the eyes without becoming an assault on them like certain tracks can be at times. Unfortunately, I don't share the same praise for the start of the track mechanically. It begins with an almost immediate shortcut, letting you hop across this oasis in order to trick off this ramp and skip an initial turn. I don't mind easy shortcuts, but there is absolutely no reason to go the long way over hopping the oasis. It's large enough to fit 2 carts side by side or allow 1 cart to power slide through. It's undoubtedly shorter, and the longer route offers nothing to entice the player to take it. Most CTR shortcuts will offer item boxes or a Wumpa crate for taking the long way, allowing for a risk-reward system to take place. But it's not so here, and the shortcut itself is, well, short enough that a TNT crate laid on it often proves ineffective, and potions can be avoided with how wide it is. A shortcut should present a choice between risking a faster time while requiring greater execution, or a safer path with the potential for either greater consistency or a comeback mechanic. This first shortcut just offers a clearly superior path and a way for fools. Fortunately, the next stretch does a bit better, giving the player a choice between 2 ramps behind this Crash Anubis statue. Each path has its advantages, with the right proving to be faster overall and the left leading to an easy Wumpa crate, to increase overall speed later and get better items. I personally often take the left during the first lap and the right during the next 2 in order to get access to juiced up items sooner, and that level of strategy can vary from player to player, or even race to race depending on how your Wumpa management goes. This is followed by a mostly straight shot into the Cortex Sphinx, a path large enough for a player to power slide through fairly easily or get some hang time turbo boosts. Of course, this is broken up by these pits of deadly water, creating choke points for more item-reliant players. So whatever decision the player made, to speed through or to power up, is put to the test almost immediately. The hues of gold and the burning of torches throughout also soften the transition from night to day visually, making the light at the end of the tunnel both stand out and not seem too jarring. This guiding light leads to the main gimmick of the stage, one that the rest of its design is based around and depends on: a ramp giving the player ultimate sacred fire. Yes, that's a real phrase. I don't know what edgy teenager named it, but we have to live with it. I mean, we call it blue fire now, because it's blue now, and it didn't used to be, so it's blue fire, but I already wrote the script, so... Denoted by flames at the back of the player's cart turning white, Ultimate Sacred Fire is used to boost players over very large set-piece jumps, or just constantly in deep-sea driving, which makes it pure adrenaline, and turbocharges the player's speed to go even further beyond what the speedometer will show. As long as the player keeps performing mini-turbos, doesn't hit any walls, and doesn't break or get hit by an item, Ultimate Sacred Fire will be maintained. And unlike the aforementioned deep-sea driving, keeping the fire burning in Twilight Tour is not only rewarding, but difficult. If not immediately drifting, a racer will come across this uphill section, which will deplete their USF almost instantly. And while they can get past that, there's a turn at the top of this incline that makes keeping a steady drift line rather difficult. Additionally, item boxes laid directly before the USF ramp ensure that chaos will ensue on this straightaway, making maintaining the speed even more difficult. And I absolutely adore that. The beginning of the track is straightforward enough that skilled players should be able to keep in a tight pack. The choke points of the pools of water and the initial shortcut causing some to fall out of the top of the rankings. It's not a guaranteed reward for a player in the know. It's something to be fought tooth and nail over, ideally perfected in time trials, but never guaranteed when actually racing. That kind of necessary adaptation, deciding to risk gaining Ultimate Sacred Fire based on your item drop, instead of adjusting based on the proximity of others for a safer shot, elevates the game past simply executing its higher concepts to perform optimally. It's adapting to those who can match it. That's the mark of a competitive racing title. This philosophy extends to the rest of the track. The next area contains a few soft curves, letting a player who got out with USF maintain it before leading to another ramp. This ramp offers the player a choice: a wider main track over a soft curve, or a thinner shortcut with a much tighter turn. This ramp also offers boring old regular Sacred Fire if a player lost their ultimate form, so using the wider, slower path would give a player a good chance to build up speed again if they'd fallen behind, extending the duration of their boost by chaining mini-turbos and jump boosts. But of course, the tighter turn is faster, and while it's harder to get a good line on it, it'll offer a far more immediate benefit. Plus, you have to consider where others might have gone and laid out items if you're behind or on a second or third lap, and the shortcut contains far less room to avoid anything. A canopy of sheets begins to cover the track, darkening the skies and giving the player a very smooth transition as it shifts back to night. A springboard to the right can boost a player up to this center divider, where one final Ultimate Sacred Fire booster waits for him. This is accessible by either path, but exceptionally easy to trap, and not always possible to get a straight shot toward. It's not quite as difficult as I'd like to get to. Shortcuts in similar tracks like Papu's Pyramid and Sewer Speedway tend to be much less forgiving with jump timing, but I love how the track after it is laid out. A straightaway followed immediately by an S-curve leaves little time to properly build up boosts before colliding into a wall, but it's presented to the player in a way that they can react well and cut through it with skill. And it feels so good to pull off and be rewarded by a super wide expanse of desert to maintain speed in to your heart's content. After that, the track loops again, and it's totally possible to maintain that Ultimate Sacred Fire through the whole race this time. Though the shortcut at the beginning still bugs me. Seriously, it seems easier to take that to maintain speed than to go the long way. Twilight Tour, to me, isn't quite as good as CTR's best. Everything functions to keep the track engaging, the theming is fantastic, there are plenty of jumps to get a hangtime turbo boost off of, and the high concept of maintaining USF is something that could only come with the hindsight of another game to work off of in order to make it work as well as it does. But it doesn't quite stick the landing, feeling like a tale of two speed boosts that are rather easy to get to and don't particularly mesh well together. The individual sprints after each Ultimate Sacred Fire boost work amazingly well, filled with adaptation and potential mind games. But while I find the boosts hard to maintain, I find that the ability to booby trap the second so easily makes whoever pulled off the first boost the best able to play essentially the win more card with the second. However, this isn't to detract what a thrill it is to boost through the sands. Twilight Tour would undoubtedly be the best track in a weaker racing game, and does CTR proud by fitting right in with its solid roster of courses and expanding on the deeper mechanics in a meaningful way. The split-second decision-making, the thrill of execution, the seamless ride through a level if a player is skilled enough to do it, it's all still here. It's all still fantastic. And while it's not the best it's ever been, it's pretty damn close. I love the direction this game is going in. Hell, I just love this game. And I'm so excited to see what else Beenox brings to the table. I am proud to say that Twilight Tour proves that Nitro-Fueled still got it. And it still knows how to design for fluidity.